Hello, hello, hello. So, I'm going to be shoved in this corner. So let me see if I can fix this a little bit so I'm not like completely in the corner. There we go. So I'm going to let a few people come in. I was going to try to do my nails. Then I messed them up. So I thought we'd talk about writing and tarot. I need to get the books out while I'm waiting. I'm going to get some of the books. See if a few people come in. Where is my big book? My writer's Bible's right here. I'll find that one later. I know I have the other one somewhere. Hello! I was looking for my astrology for writer's book, which I know is somewhere. But I've been trying to get some things together. So we're going to talk for a minute about a few things. So I've got some people watching. Hello, everybody. My name is Burgess Taylor. You can find me on most social media as Journey with Burgess. I think it's Journey W. Burgess on Twitter. But in preparation for NaNoWriMo, for Preptober, I've been kind of going through some of the things that really helped me, that really helped me kind of gather my thoughts together when it comes to writing, when it comes to outlining, when it comes to using all the different things that you can use to help you outline. I am a pantser at heart. But if I pants, then I tend to end up with saggy bottom. My pants droop by the middle of the novel, even before the middle of the novel. It's not good. It's not good. Not good at all. So I came across a video quite a couple years ago, a few years ago now, I think, by Arwen Lynch of Tarot by Arwen, and she was talking about goal, motivation, and conflict. I think was the original video. Might have been a different one, but she was talking about using writing and tarot. And after that, I was like, I had already come across like a little ebook a long time ago, and I got hooked. Arwen uses the hero's journey and tarot to outline to write her novel. Hey, lady, headed over to your mom's for the weekend. You'll have to catch the replay. Oh, darn. I shouldn't have waited so late. But I had, it's been one of those days. I had errands I had to run. And I had stuff. I took a picture, but my phone didn't want to post it for some reason. I took some me time. I went to Arby's. I sat down with my book by Dan Brown, Origin. And I read for 30 minutes while I ate dinner, and I read. I was at Arby's for, 45 minutes or so. Took a little bit of me time, some quiet time. David went to work, and I went, and I was running errands today. I'd already been out. But I took some me time, which is really, just very different for me. So I had Arby's for dinner. So tarot and writing. I have this. This is like an oracle deck. It's The Universe Has Your Back. And this is 52 inspiring messages to help you open up to the power of the universe. Offer spiritual guidance to help you find strength when you are down, synchronicity and support when you are lost, safety in the face of uncertainty, and joy in all circumstances. I really love this deck so far. It's gorgeous. This is more for affirmation stuff. I am going to start doing this in the morning because this is sort of non-denominational. It's not the Namaste I really like. But these are sort of more universal. I like the other oracle cards, the Mystic Grove. But I wanted something that was a little bit different. And these feel much different than normal tarot or oracle cards. I have to say, I would like to make my own. That's going to be one of my projects for next year, is to make my own deck of affirmation cards, to do watercolor. And I don't know what this is, but it's not glossy, slick like that, like a regular deck of cards and like some tarot decks, you know, they're super, super slick. This is slick, but it's not glossy slick. But these are gorgeous. So I'm going to stop there because I will actually do a review. I found this really great deck I wanted to use for my book, to use for the tarot reading, so I can kind of keep to one. It's called the Sun and Moon Tarot, and it's by Vanessa DeCourt. And I have these. Actually have two of these books, but I am about to have finally the deck, the tarot deck that goes with this. Finally, and I can't wait to actually put it to use. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is what she says in the very beginning of this book. I think people misunderstand tarot, and if you're watching this and you're at least open-minded, or maybe you just love watching my videos, but I thought I'd talk for a minute about the different uses of tarot. Tarot doesn't have to be used for just divination. Tarot can be used in any number of ways. It can be used creatively. But this is what Vivian Kath says. Tarot is a means of interpreting our lives through the context of images and concepts that speak to the deeper parts of our psyche. From a psychological perspective, it whispers to the inner focus of our collective subconscious, the same well from which writers, poets, artists, and others draw their inspiration. Using archetypes and common concepts, it allows the viewer, the reader, as well as the author to find deep commonalities between the stories they write and the stories they live. I loved that. This is in her introduction. These books have been sitting on my shelf on and off, other than on occasion I look through them, because I was going to make the oracle cards I was going to make the tarot cards myself. I don't know why I keep wanting to say oracle. I was going to make the cards myself, and I did make a few of them, but that was so time consuming. And the images that she has in the bulk of the book are all in black and white, and I really want to color. And I finally, after, I don't know, when did this come out? When did we get this? Persephone was still watching, I would know, because we both ordered that around the same time. 2017. So I've had this since last year. I've had it for a whole year. And I'm finally going to get the cards that go to it. So, this book. And whatever I did with Arwen's book. Hold on just a second. Well, I bet Arwen's book is in the living room. Because, oh, no, it's right here. I'll just have to find the other book. That would be more mean. Yeah, I think so too. And I want affirmation cards in watercolor. I don't want just affirmations that say I am worthy. I mean, I could put that on a Post-it note and stick it on my mirror in the bathroom. But there are days when I need a little bit more than I am worthy. I want more meaningful affirmations. I want an affirmation that sounds like a little bit of a line for poetry or something that makes me feel really inspired or really grateful or really creative or something, like different affirmations for different topics, kind of, like an affirmation that tells me, hey, gray hair is sexy. Remember that today. For my husband, it could be, hey, bald is sexy, because he's got a bald spot. But so I wish I had found the bigger book. I got this for like $1 though, so I'm not complaining. But I need a better book that explains some of the tarot information, archetypes and different things like that. We'd like to learn more. Hello, how are you? So planning for NaNoWriMo. So this is actually this usually stays in my writer's Bible. This is sort of my go-to. I like the big book. I really do. I use the big book, as you can tell. I use the big book a lot for reference. I haven't yet started highlighting in it, but I'm getting pretty close. I'm gonna end up needing a second one of these. And I'm probably going to need to get another one of these eventually, because I'm going to end up highlighting stuff and marking things. And I like to be able to work in the book like this. This way. I took her class, and this is just like her class. And I love it. You can actually use this to go through the whole thing for your novel pretty much. She really breaks down how to use tarot with the hero's journey. I have astrology for writers. I just don't know what I've done with it. It's somewhere. I cleaned up in here to find my pen, and now I'm missing my TWSBI Mini and my astrology for writers book. And I know that they're here. Hey, I know that they're here. I'm sorry I got a late start, but I know that the TWSBI Mini's here, and I know that my astrology for writers book is here. But I'm still reading the astrology for writers. So these are probably these are the two I use the most. I have a few others. I have one on Kindle that when I did my very first video about tarot and writing, outlining using the tarot cards and the hero's journey, I think I linked that one, the ebook. But I'd never refer to that one anymore. So I don't see any point in referencing it because I never look at it. I have another one that has the tarot and the hero's journey, and she gives examples of like King Arthur and, that kind of stuff. And I find that really interesting for the creative side. So I do get that one out and read it sometimes because I like the creativity. You have Arwen's book and the Tarot for Writers that you're studying now. Yeah. Don't you hate it when that happens? Yes, I do. So I've cleaned in my room. Not that you can tell based on that table. You have them all on Kindle. I have like 4 or 5. Let's see. That's going to drive me crazy. If I can't, y'all hold on 1 second. Okay. It has to be in the living room. Okay, so the astrology and the other one, they have to be in the living room, I'm guessing, because I don't see them in here. So, do you recommend Scrivener? You're debating saving up for, because all the author to recommend. Okay, how I got Scrivener is I did the trial version of it for a NaNoWriMo. They usually extend it. So if you want to get it, I'd start watching some videos now. Hey, I'd start watching some videos now about Scrivener. And I'd get it about, I think you can probably get it mid-October, but you might want to check on the NaNoWriMo website because they usually have a thing where they tell you what some of the stuff is and you can try. They have a trial. It's usually a 30-day trial, but for NaNoWriMo, they extend it. They also have a NaNoWriMo template that you can use in Scrivener. There's there's a hero's journey template. There's all kinds of stuff, but I have been using Scrivener for 3 years. You can't you managed to catch one of my live chats. But if you win NaNoWriMo, they used to, no, I don't know if they still do, but they give you like a 50% off thing. And they give you a code for winning NaNoWriMo, and then you get it for like 20-something bucks. I still have the older version. They've changed the Windows version. I need to pay the money and get the new updated version. I think it's out yet, but I'm not sure. I found my fairies book. I'm finding stuff I wasn't looking for. You just updated your beta for Scrivener for Windows and won't use anything else to write. You started with NaNoWriMo version 2. You'll have to let me know, Bonnie, how the beta 1, the new Windows version is, because you're supposed to be able to get some kind of discount if you already have Scrivener. Yeah, get the trial and then get the discount. Yeah. You just downloaded the new version? Well, damn. Did you have to pay money? Let me open my Scrivener. Download, update. How about that? Okay. You're a beta tester. Okay, so I have some of my books that go with my tarot cards. This was the very first tarot deck I ever got. This is from, and this is the only tarot deck I had for like 20-something years. I bought this in 1990. I got it when it very first came out, and I just started writing and stuff with tarot like a few years ago. So up until, I don't know, 2016, I only had the one tarot deck. So I have like quite a few different books this is my Rider-Waite. This came in a set with the deck. And this is actually a pretty good little book and a pretty good set because it's the regular Rider-Waite tarot cards. So most of the time I have a couple of what I think, however you pronounce that, decks. So I like using tarot for my writing because it's creative, because it's a way to get me out of the just using one side of my brain. It allows me to use the right brain and the left brain, which is part of the problem I had before when I was outlining, is that I was only doing structure and function. It zapped all the creativity. And I will keep you posted on the deets with the new version. It's a lot like the Mac version. Cool. I really like using tarot because of the visual, but it opens up the door to my imagination and my creativity. It allows me to be more creative. You haven't put in your old code in yet to see if it costs more. You haven't touched your old Scrivener file through your the fresh file and an outline from cool. Yeah, I need to know because I have the regular Windows Scrivener, and I need to know if I'm doing an update right now, but I need to know if it might just be a regular update. If you actually have to upgrade to like pay, because when I originally saw that, it said you had to pay, which I think is ridiculous. Mac people didn't have to pay to get their updates. So anyway, I wanted a deck that was specifically for, I can use it for other things, but it's specifically for this novel. And when I saw this Sun and Moon Tarot, it's quite different than most. Let's see if I can find one that everybody knows. So here we go. There's the Emperor. The Moon. I like this because it still seems to be Rider-Waite based, but it feels much more modern to me. It feels much more modern, but it still seems magical, if that makes sense. Like, I would one day like to illustrate my own, like I said, I want to make my own oracle cards. Now, I don't know what these are made of. I do not know, because they're not glossy, shiny, slick. They're just kind of slick. And they feel more like cardstock, but not, if that makes sense. They feel like journal cards, like really nice, better than your life, document your life, or whatever that's called, Project Life. They feel better than those, but they do feel like the really nice journal cards that, you could use as a tip-in. These are gorgeous. I love these. I wish these, but that's what I'd like to do. Is make my own affirmation cards, and eventually I kind of like to do drawings of my characters and different things and illustrate oh, that's ridiculous. We have to cough up money after we already bought it. Is the size standardized? Like, these are standard tarot cards. The universe has got your back. See, that's not even making me remotely happy. I think that's ridiculous. Did they make Mac people pay $25 when they did they make them pay? Now, these are the Secrets of the Mystic Grove Oracle cards, which so you can kind of see. But I wanted something that was more modern. More modern. Well, if you know what, if they will give me a discount for winning NaNoWriMo and I get a discount off that $25, then I might would do it. You have a random deck you bought from an antique mall that was brand spanking new, though. And then you have the Wild Unknown. I want the Wild Unknown tarot deck. I do. It's on my wish list on Amazon. So I like this because, okay, these are the Ten of Cups. The Chariot. So when I pull these cards, I think it'll be more like I will have it more like this just feels so much more modern to me. But still kind of magical because I mean I'm writing a book about a hereditary witch. You bought them from an I used to have a spread cloth. That Enchanted Tarot came with a purple spread cloth, but I have no idea what happened to it. So I really like these. I really do. I am going to say that there have been quite a few people who who've been watching the videos on YouTube or who have been following me elsewhere and who are upset because I'm using tarot cards. I don't talk much about religion or politics on social media. I refuse. But when I talk about my spirituality, I'm actually talking about anything and everything that feeds my spirit, my soul. So that could be anything from reading the Bible. Last night I was reading Psalms. To reading astrology. Yes, I've gotten that too, Vicky. Yes. I got that, you know, people who were Christian, some Christians, not all Christians. Some Christians are very anti. I happen to have a really cool father-in-law. He actually was reading birth charts before computers ever did it. He read my birth chart before I ever met my husband. I met his dad many, many, many years before, like almost a decade before I met David. And he read my birth chart and he's like, wow. And I remember specifically because my birthday falls on a day when normally people who are born on my birthday are Leo. But because of the time I was born and where I was born, I'm actually Cancer. So I'm like, some people don't believe that there are cusps, but I am. So Leo is my rising sign and Cancer is my sun sign. So, my mom is very Christian and she's also psychic, but there are a lot of Christians who think psychic ability is the devil. That just gave me the whole, not Happy Gilmore, but when the other one he was in with the mom. And I just, it's ADHD. So see, now that's completely went. You're a Gemini cusp. Water boy. Yes, yes, yes. I love that. But it's the devil. People do judge and people don't get it holier than thou speak. Yes. Tarot is the devil. Yes. Astrology, a lot of people, but you know, people have been reading the moon phases forever. You are a Leo sun and rising and a Cancer moon. See, we're almost the opposite out of we're right there. My Aquarius is my moon sign. Playing that foosball. Well, that's what this is amounts to for some people. And I'm not judging them. I'm not judging them. I'm just letting you know that don't be surprised that if we get somebody who comes in, just let me know. Just say, capital letters. Just let me know, because unfortunately, there has been some negative feedback. Yeah. Basically, you have an ancestor. I am psychic. I've been seeing and talking to ghosts since I was a little kid. I didn't grow up thinking tarot was evil or astrology was evil or any of that psychic ability, but I do know, because my mom is my mom, my dad, my stepdad's sister, my grandmother, my real daddy's mother, very psychic. I come from a family that have a lot of empathic ability, a lot of psychic ability. It is sad, Shell. It is. And I'm not saying that they're judging, but there are a lot of people that are very firm in their beliefs, and everybody's entitled to their own beliefs. I truly believe that. I truly believe I am on an eclectic spiritual journey, and I happen to have an eclectic belief system. I'm extremely open-minded. I don't think you have to be any one thing or another. The three kings that look for the babe followed a star. Yes, exactly. Blame it on the Scottish. I'm Scottish too. Yes, yes. The three wise men did follow a star. But people follow the moon phases, our periods, come a lot of harvests, all kinds of stuff. But anyway, I don't want to get on that. I don't want to get on. I just wanted to kind of let you know. Yeah, me too. Scottish, Irish, French, and Native American, and a little bit of Spanish thrown in there. But I am more Scottish and Irish than anything. My mom's great grandmother was full-blooded Native American in South Carolina, Cherokee, Crow, something. And my daddy's mother was Irish and Native American. So my daddy's family was Scottish, Irish, straight from Scotland and Ireland. And then, yeah, my mom's family's Scottish, Irish, and English, and Native American. Great-great-grandma was first-generation Scots American. Yes, yes. My great grandfather came over with his father and from Scotland. So yes, my great grandfather was first generation from his mom's family to be born, because his mom was from Ireland. My grandfather's mom was from Ireland. So my grandfather was first born from his mom's side, but from his dad's side, his dad was first born from the Scottish American. So, but I favor being open-minded. I favor being very open-minded. I didn't, and it's funny because I live in the Bible Belt, and being psychic was just as much the devil as tarot cards or astrology or, and my mom quit going to church when my daddy died, and the people from the church came. And my real daddy used to take me and my little brother to church a lot. My mom worked nights, so my mom didn't go very much, because my mom would have worked the night before, and that would be when my mom's days and nights were backwards for most people. So my mom didn't go because she had just gotten off work a couple of hours before that, So After my dad had died, the church came by because I had been, and we had been going, and they forgot and left their notepad at my mom's house when they left. Well, needless to say, my mom got it. She was going to call them and said, hey, you left your little notebook. But she saw where it said, isn't a Christian. She doesn't go to church. And my mom was like, I'm baptized and I am a Christian and I can worship God anywhere I want to. I don't have to go to your church to believe in God or to be a Christian. And that's when my mom quit going to church. So my mom was open-minded enough to say, hey, just because you say I have to do so-and-so doesn't mean that God's saying I have to do so-and-so. So I was raised to think for myself. And I'm not saying that people who believe otherwise aren't thinking for themselves. I'm trying really hard not to be judgmental myself. Trying really hard not to. But I got an email from a YouTube subscriber that said I was pretty much going to the devil, pretty much going to hell. And then I had a patron. I lost a patron. Your grandpa passed last year. People are judgmental. My grandmother, my step grandfather was a preacher, a part-time preacher, head deacon, and he and my grandmother walked the walk. They were really Christian, what a real Christian is supposed to be. They walked the walk. They didn't just talk the talk. And my grandmother was a firm believer in not judging people. People live in glass houses, should not throw stones. And so that comment about sharing your love of tarot cards and to find and purchase them. I love them. Of course, yeah, people want to hide stuff like that. In my head, well, I was raised, see, now we're going to talk about all this. I shouldn't have. I was raised to believe that a real Christian, somebody who follows the word of God, and by the word of God, what Jesus says in the New Testament, okay, is you're supposed to love others no matter what. You're supposed to treat others the way that Jesus would treat them, with hospitality, with grace, with understanding, with love and acceptance and tolerance. Now, if you're talking tolerance, that means you have to tolerate somebody in some way. Well, we tolerate our family members because they're our family members, right? Sometimes we have to cut the cord. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we embrace them, flaws and all. The golden rule. I follow the golden rule. I was taught to follow the golden rule. So for me, I found there's something interesting. I am a patron to someone who's very witchy, and she's very arty. And there are a few people in her group, in her class, that are Christian. And instead of they make things their own way. As a matter of fact, when she talks about different things that you could do, she gives different ideas of how there's a girl that has set up a different kind of thing for, say, if you wanted to, instead of like a book of shadows or a book of spirits or a book of Buddhist stuff or anything like that. Hello. Instead of doing something like that, you could do something more along the lines of whatever your stuff is. You don't have to do exactly what that person's doing. So if I'm doing something in my art journal, and you're following along, if I'm doing a journal with me and I am having really crappy weather here, really crappy weather. We just had a hurricane, a tropical storm. We had storms yesterday. My internet went kaput yesterday. Our power surged yesterday. So I drew this really crazy stormy looking cloud with a tiny bit of sun peeking through and it looking like it's rain and everything. Okay. But where you're at and where you are at, it's bright. It's sunny. There's not like a rain cloud in the sky. I mean, it's gorgeous where you're at. Would you draw the rainy journal page if it's not raining where you're at? I mean, unless you're trying to learn how to draw clouds, then maybe you might. But yours are going to look different than mine because they're your clouds, right? The sky, the sun, any of that, it's going to look different because it's your stuff, right? It's like with our planners or our journals or our novels, our topics, our characters. You could be in a class for writing and you could have one member in the class who says, okay, we've got this okay, not a member, you've got this teacher, and the teacher says, we're going to have this project and I'm going to give you this theme. We'll say betrayal. I'm going to give you the theme of betrayal. And I'm going to give you 10 character names, and you're going to use 3-act structure and the hero's journey. And I want you to write me a novel, a novella about this. And this is your big project for your class, to write this 50,000 word novella about the theme of betrayal with these 10 characters that you've been given. And all you've been given is their names. So, you know, you've got this many males and this many females. Okay. And that's it. You know, it doesn't really, that's it. Every person in that class, other than the theme and even their theme, they could expand or it could be, they could add they could add justice to the betrayal as a subplot. They could have a love interest, have a love story as the subplot. You could have any number of different things for that. Even if we all got the exact same instructions with the exact same names, with the exact same theme to write our novel. So that's why I'm saying when it comes to certain things, especially religion or politics or things like that, I will tell you straight up front, I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person. That doesn't mean I don't believe in God, but that doesn't also mean I'm not open-minded. I come from like I said, my granddaddy was first generation Irish. My great grandparent was first generation here, Scottish. Some people are Catholic. Does that mean that if you're a Christian, then, aren't Catholics Christians? Or do we just, but if let's say you're Methodist, can the Catholics and the Methodists not get along? Do you have to? I guess that's my whole thing, is that we can be different. We don't all have to be the same. If we were all the same, it would be extremely boring. Extremely boring. I have not. This is why this is still up here. This is why you have this. I'm not changing. I'm not putting up every single thing that I have and spending an hour trying to clean up to make this space look. I'm working in this space. This is my workspace. You were baptized Catholic and raised Methodist with your grandpa. Yeah, I have a third of my family is probably Baptist. A little bit is Southern Baptist. My grandmother was one of my grandmothers, dabbled into a lot of different things. She was a Jehovah's Witness for a while. She was Episcopalian for a while. She was Methodist for a while. She was Wiccan for a while. You're not worried about my workspace. Your bed is a hot mess. Stepford humans. You don't want, I don't want to see your room. But you know, I finally, we're gonna, when David has some more time off, we're gonna move the craft table out a little bit, and I'm gonna put this back over on the other side so that I can get this out when I need it. So this doesn't have to stay, because I keep trying to reach for things and then I'm having to duck my head inside here or pull it off. And I think I'm just gonna go back to using this on the dining room table sometimes. When I don't want the red from my craft table to show. But it's that Snoopy in the background. Yes, that is Snoopy. All kinds of Snoopy in the background. I collect Snoopy stuff. So I guess what he's enjoying hanging out in my creative room. Because if you're not here to be nice and you can't be nice, you're going to get booted the hell out. So I think it comes to a point where you go, okay, you know, what am I doing? What do I really want to do? And I've been talking about that for a while. And I'm just like, there's a part of me that for a long time, when I very first started doing the videos with the tarot and writing, I was like, look, I know most people think about this as divination, but this is not, I was not using it when I was showing it as divination. I was using it strictly for the writing. And I kept it like that. I put them in timeout. If he doesn't leave and he comes back, then I'll just report him and block him. Most of the time, if you put him in timeout, I try to be nice, then they'll just go away. It started out as a card game. But I mean, I think people, I see people on YouTube and on Patreon and on Instagram and everywhere posting Bible stuff all the time. I'm a patron of a witch. I am a patron of somebody who's extremely Christian, who is very Christian, who is a sweetheart. She sings. They used to live in a church. I am a patron of a lot of different people, and I don't care. You know, am I learning something? Are you creative? Do you speak to me creatively? Do you inspire me? You know, I don't comment on every single super religious, super Christian thing I see that goes, you have completely ostracized all the rest of the people who are either atheist or agnostic or pagan or whatever, you know. I mean, and people who aren't Christian could say, what about the Jewish people? What about, you know, what about the people who are Muslim? What about the people who are, you know, whatever, Buddhist, Hindu? You know, there's so many different things out there. Jehovah's Witness, we've got Mormons, we've got all different kinds of things. But I don't comment and go, well, you know, I can't watch you because every time I turn around, there's something Christian there, you know. And my husband is a Christian. I believe in God. I don't consider myself to be a Christian because I don't like organized religion. It has nothing to do with what I do or don't believe spiritually, though. It's I don't like organized religion. I don't like that, you know, it's what's good for the goose ought to be good for the gander. And that's not how organized religion is any more than that's how politics are. So that's just my take. I'm a free thinker. I'm a free spirit. I'm very open-minded, and you know, I don't think I should have to choose. I don't think I should have to say, well, you know what? If I believe in God, then I can't play with tarot cards, or I can't make my own oracle deck. If I believe in God, then I can't study astrology. God didn't tell me any of that. What your Bible is written by man and translated by man. And I guess now I'm getting on the getting on the kick. I don't either. I was made to go, and I saw how adults acted. It wasn't very good. No. And when you go to church, especially if you go to church in the South, there are certain churches, if you don't dress to the nines, ooh, you better be sitting in the back of that church, in the back pew. You know? Seriously. And how about, didn't she just wear that dress Sunday before last? Oh, girl. Mm-hmm. She was, where she was at Friday afternoon after work, right? She was at happy hour. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what she was doing. I saw that glass of wine she had. And I live in the South, and I kid you not. Exactly. Spirituality and religion are two very different things. And I am a very spiritual person. I believe in a lot of things. I believe in reincarnation. I believe some people are, some people aren't. I believe in a lot of what the Buddhists teach. I believe in some of the Christian stuff. The only thing I read in the Bible, other than the only thing I read in the only thing I read in the Bible, other than the New Testament, are the Psalms. I love the Psalms, some of them, not all of them, but some of them. But I don't ever really read the Old Testament. I mean, I know the story. I've read the Bible back and forth. I grew up a Christian. Exactly, Leandra, what you put out in the universe can come back to you, good or bad. I very much believe in what the Native Americans taught about spirituality. Yes, exactly. We find love in our journaling and paper art community, and we find love and meaning in life. Exactly. I love how deeply Allie is affected by the spirit. I love how much she loves God. I love how much she expresses that. I love how much Ro is into all of her witchy gothness. I love that about her. Why can't I love both of them? You know? I embrace that creativity. I embrace that spark, that what everything about them. That's what I love them for who they are. I'm in a journey. I'm on a spiritual journey. And I think from some people's perspective, because I have really been studying the last year or two or more, I'm still learning. I'm still learning about astrology. I'm still learning about the tarot. I'm still learning about Buddhism. I'm still learning. Hell, I'm still learning about Christianity, and I'm not a Christian anymore. But if I say I'm not a Christian, that doesn't necessarily mean I don't believe in God or I don't believe in whatever, you know. This group of people helps me know and feel that I'm not complete weirdo. We are like-minded in our love for life and memories and documenting life. Yes. I love life. I love everything about life and the universe that we are in. I love that I'm one little person, a little speck in the universe, and on our earth, in the 7 billion people we have, I'm one little tiny speck in that, in the whole of it. And in the whole scheme of things, how important is it really? Now, if it offends you and you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. There are a lot of videos that I don't watch that are by people that I absolutely love. And I'll start watching and oh, well, this isn't for me. And then I move on. I don't bother to comment. I don't bother to be mean. I don't bother to thumbs down. I know I'm a weirdo. I know I am. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Everybody's not going to like me any more than I'm going to like every single person else out there. But we are in an era now where if we don't embrace the fact that we are in a new we are a new hello. When I was a kid in the 70s, do you know what kind of TV shows they were on? Do you know what kind of TV shows they were on? Okay, what was okay back then is not okay now. Okay, what we are going through as a society in our world, not in just this country or in anybody else's country, but in the world, what we are going through as a society is we have improved things so much with technology that now people can talk to people all over the world. All over the world. We now know that there are other people doing other things, and they can do it. They can do it good. They can do a good job. But that doesn't mean they're doing it your way. They're doing it their way. And what if their way might actually work better for you? What if, oh my God, you talk to somebody who was from a different culture or from a different religion or from a different whatever, you know? We get to talk to people from all over. We get to learn about other people in other cultures a lot more than what's in a textbook. And we all know damn good and well, especially if you were in the United States and you lived in the South, that what's in a history book is not always accurate. What is written in a book is not always accurate. So I guess that's this really went way off topic. I was supposed to be talking about tarot and writing. Carol Burnett. Yes. Getting the first computer. Yes. But I don't know. I sometimes feel like we're at this precipice with social media. Oh, yeah, Archie Bunker. Oh, hell yeah. Good times. Actually, there are a lot of different shows because we had Archie Bunker on the one hand, and then we had the Jefferson guy. We had the people who were we had the Jeffersons, and we had Archie Bunker. And you had, like Peanuts shorts. All different. I mean, we're talking, I remember when Peanuts, like, I don't remember exactly, but I remember when the black character started getting more popular with Peanuts. They finally, like, I remember back when I was a kid, one of my best friends, and I'm in South Carolina. I'm from the South. And one of my best friends, she was black. And I spent the night at her house, and she had 2 twin beds in her room, and she had 2 Cabbage Patch dolls. Now, I'm in elementary school. We're talking the early 70s here. We're talking 76, 77, And she had a white one and a black one on the 2. She had one on each twin bed. You don't like black people, but okay. Remove. Okay. So hey. Okay. All right. So I guess I grew up in an era in the early 70s where there were some people who really were like some relatives. You can't hang out with those people. I'm like, what are you talking about? What, those people? I don't even know who you're talking about. I'm like 6, 7, 8 years old. You can't spend the night. Why can't I spend the night? She's my friend. My mom and dad didn't have a problem with it. But there were some people at school and some relatives who had problems with it. And my mom and dad were like, we met her parents. She goes to school with her. They're best friends. I don't see anything wrong with it. Her parents are super sweet, you know? So I think, but this was the early 70s, and we are talking South Carolina, and things had just finally gotten integrated in the 60s, and we are talking the early 70s. So by the time I was in high school, things were better, and me and Melanie were still the best of friends. I mean, I had a lot of friends. She lived in our neighborhood. I grew up with her. We rode bicycles together. We went to school together. We were all friends. My high school was probably pretty close to half and half of white kids and minorities, depending on, we had a few Asian and a few, and I don't want to sound prejudiced, but I live in South Carolina, and this was the 70s. And when I was growing up, our neighborhood had 80% white and 20% black. I had never met a Hispanic person until I got to high school. You know, I didn't even look at color. It wasn't a thing for me. It just wasn't. My parents didn't really, I had friends of all different cultures and religions, and I just had never met like anybody Hispanic. I ended up married to a Puerto Rican. I ended up divorced. He was in the Navy, and but it was so. Your mom's ex-husband was white in the 70s, so they're the only interracial couple. You just turned 50, yes. They thought you couldn't exist because you weren't baptized. Yes, when I was in high school, we had a Puerto Rican that came to our school. Ooh, they didn't even know what that was. We had a couple of mixed kids, and we had some Asian kids, and people were like, "Oh my God!" And I think it was just because a lot of us didn't know, and we are talking the early 70s. And so as kids, though, we're like, cool, man, I like your skin color. I like your hair. Can I do that to my hair? Kids don't know. Kids don't know prejudice. They don't know racism unless you teach it to them. So we're all like happy-go-lucky as kids. I'm like, my hair is super curly. One brown egg and one white egg, hole in one section, and then in another they were broken with the yolk showing on the inside were all the same. Exactly. But I still remember back then. Now you're 38, and that's how the demographic felt like in the area you grew up in. Minneapolis and Minnesota. Yeah. Things are finally changing because we are able to talk to so many different people about so many different things. Honestly, when you look at somebody's journal page, unless they're doing people, and then you still don't know, because when I drew, and I'll tell you this because my ex-husband is Puerto Rican, my kids, Puerto Rican. When I drew, where is my journal? Yes, 1,000 times yes. This was me in Walmart. Now, this is actually supposed to be me. Because I had my hair pulled up. It was all, So sometimes you might not know, but I don't even. You're homeschooled for most of your school years, but we had kids of a lot of races in your first and second grade classes. I don't know. I think I grew up in a different era. When I was raising my kids, my son came to me one day and asked me, questions about, because he's super smart. And he always had to know everything. He was always asking me 100 million questions. Mom, how come some people have how come you have brown eyes and I have gray eyes? How come your hair is really curly and my hair is straight? How come some people are darker than others? And so I said, when you get that carton of ice cream, I said, and we've got chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. I said, and you're looking at it and it looks real pretty and you got all of those flavors and colors right there. And they're in the one box, but they're separated. They each have a, and he said, yeah. I said, what happens when you mix it all together? I said, it all kind of blends and you get like that flavor of chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla all together. And it kind of gets this weird color. And I said, well, we're like that ice cream. We are like that ice cream. And I tend to think of the world like Neapolitan ice cream. Religions, race, sexual orientation, we are all one big box of ice cream in our many different flavors. But when you get down to the nitty gritty, we're all the same. We're all the same. We might look a little different. We might taste a little different. We might sound a little different. We might, but deep down inside, like that egg yolk, we're the same, And I had to think about a 4-year-old. I think he was 4.5 when he asked me that question. And I'm like, well, you know what? He'll understand ice cream. Sometimes I don't know. I guess that's a whole different conversation, Adeline. And this is YouTube, not Tumblr. So none of that can happen on YouTube. I think we get to a point, though, where I think we choose to be divided. Some people still choose to, me too. Some people choose to be divided. Some people want to stay divided. The more that women fight for their rights and the more that women are anti, you're not going to oppress me anymore. We're coming out. We're going to speak about our truths. We're going to show our teal. I was raped when I was 15 by somebody I went to high school with. Date rape wasn't considered rape back then. You didn't even hear about the phrase date rape. You back then reporting it. You think reporting that in the early 80s would have went over really well? You think anybody would have believed any of that? Because that wasn't real. When you were raped, if it was your husband, it wasn't rape. If it was a friend, it wasn't rape. If it was a date, it wasn't rape. You asked for it or you deserved it. It wasn't really rape unless it was an absolute stranger. And then you had to fight and say no. Because if you didn't fight or say no, it wasn't rape. We are, exactly, Bonnie. We all are walking different paths. And now we're still getting some of the mentality of, well, she was drinking. And we still have the mentality that men can't be raped. We still have the mentality that men can't be raped. And that's a farce. Because men can get breast cancer, men can get raped. I don't think anybody should be violated in any way, shape, or form. I don't think we should. Or domestic abuse, mental and emotional abuse. If you aren't physically hit, you're not abused. Yes, thank God times are changing and that a lot of this is no longer acceptable. We are finally able to a lot of us, men and women, you think about, okay, regardless of your sexual orientation, regardless of your religion, regardless of your gender, if you are with anybody and they abuse you, whether it's mental, emotional, physical, or sexual, abuse is abuse. I don't care who is doing it. I don't care. I don't care if it's a family member. I don't care if it's a spouse or a partner or a friend or anybody, you know. They still have that mindset and you're part of Ohio. Yeah, it's okay because, yeah. Well, we're lucky because there are other countries where rape is the woman's fault entirely, even if it's somebody she doesn't know. That no matter what, it's her fault if she's raped. That she's disavowed, disowned. You know, there are still a lot of countries that we have it better in a lot of ways than a lot of other countries. And there are a lot of people in Europe, you know, but there are still a lot of countries where, you know, women can get killed for committing adultery. Women can get killed for being raped. Women are, what is the word? Women are being castrated. I think what's the word? I can't think of the word. ADHD. I'm having a brain freeze. But there are still so many issues that we have, you know. So I think it's really, really sad. Yes. Thank you, Adeline. This is so far from tarot and writing, y'all. But I think we've had so much going on in the news lately. I think a lot of us are either trying to avoid it. That keeps being brought up in your sociology class. It's a big social issue. United Nations and humanitarians, and yeah, we did get way off. Humanitarians and social and things like that. Social issues are really, when we've got, and here's the thing, and this is what I told David. David mentioned something the other day. He said, Burt Reynolds died? And I said, yeah. And he said, did they do much stuff about it? He said, because I didn't hear anything about it. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, damn. He said, we got, you know, people committed suicide. Like, he liked, what was the guy? And I did Chris Cornell. And I did the graphite drawing, the pencil drawing. Prince. There were a lot of different people who died over the last couple of years. Aretha Franklin just died. There was a big thing about Aretha Franklin, her funeral. He said, did they have a funeral for Burt Reynolds? I said, I have no idea. I said, but the people we're doing, I said, they had a whole like movie madness day with a bunch of Burt Reynolds movies on some channel. And he said, well, I didn't hear much about it. And I said, he said, God, all these people. And I said, baby, we're at an age. Well, he's 40. I'm 51. Especially my age, I'm at an age where there are a lot of the iconic actors and singers and things like that are now in their 80s and 90s. And for David is 40. So some of the people he grew up with watching as a little kid are in their 70s, 80s. And these people that we grew up with are now passing away, either from old age, accidents, heart attacks, you know, cancer, what have you. Unfortunately, there are younger people who, there are people who are committing suicide. And we need more honest talks about depression and anxiety and bipolar and all different kinds of things like that. We need more talk about that. You and David are the same age. Yeah, David just turned 40 in May, and I turned 51 in July. So for a few months, we were only a decade apart. But unfortunately, we don't have enough help in the United States with healthcare and stuff like this, we don't have enough out there for things like depression and anxiety. People want to throw medicine at you for ADHD and anxiety and depression. They want to throw medicine, Ritalin, all these medicines. They want to throw the medicines at you. And instead of teaching people how to better deal with it, I'm not saying they shouldn't give us medicine. I don't take medicine anymore because what I have, they tend to interfere with each other and they tend to make something or the other worse because I have anxiety and depression and ADHD and me on Ritalin and anxiety and a lot of those kinds of things. But I got really lucky and I had a therapist who was really great with cognitive therapy. And it helped a lot. And now I use art and creative stuff and writing and DIY projects. And I go walking outside and, in nature and stuff like that. I do a lot of things that help me with my mental health. That does not mean that some days, like the other day, when I couldn't find my expensive pen that was a gift, that I didn't sit down on the floor and cry. You cried, hearing you pass. It was a heat issue. Depression is also very common among artists and sensitives, yes. We do need better teaching coping skills. Yeah. And I think sometimes temporary medicine, I told David, if anything happens, again, anything really serious, like when my dad died, my mom was in the hospital. I told him, I said, don't let me take me to the doctor yourself. Call and make the appointment for me if you have to. Don't let me go through that without anxiety medicine again. But I spent the whole time pretty much, I was at the hospital. So David said, well, what you need to do is talk to the doctor and see about getting a prescription for when you need it of an anxiety pill that I can take as needed, not on a regular basis. Because I don't like the medicine for ADHD. I don't like the side effects of the medicine for ADHD. It works really well for my brother, works really well for a lot of other people. I just don't like it. My daughter takes it. My brother takes it. Different medicines for ADHD. I do meditate, but not the way that most people think. Meditation for me, I find I have tried meditation. I listen to instrumental music and I journal. I journal. Art and watercolor and writing, journaling relax me. It is a meditative zone for me. It's in the newsletter. I kind of do a bit, and you hear a little bit of my morning routine. I don't think I put the morning pages in it. Like, I don't do morning pages the way a lot of people do morning pages. But when I'm really, like, I get on a roll. So here you have watercolor and a bunch of writing, but I kept on. And then you got just writing. So it's whatever is in my head. It's like a brain dump. All the things I need to do, all the things I've been thinking about, all the things that I want to do, all the things that I wished I hadn't done, or had only, had gotten completely done but didn't do and procrastinated about. All the crap that interferes with me getting to do what I really want to do, because anxiety is a anxiety is really hard. Thanks, Vicky. Anxiety is really hard. And I find that the only way I can kind of get rid of some of that is to just throw it all, like vomit it on the paper, to put it out of my head. It does work sometimes, and sometimes it's still, but it's not as bad. So I do also meditate, though. I listen to instrumental music and I kind of zone out when I do it. Another thing that really helps me is reading. I have been using reading books as a form of meditation since I was 7 years old and my daddy died. That was where I went to help. There are YouTube channels that play weather sounds. Rainy Moods is a really good one that sounds like rain. Literally, it sounds like rain. And I find Rainy Moods to be one of the things that I listen to when I'm writing my novels. I put it kind of down low. And I do that. I also I listen to documentaries. When I need to plan or journal or whatever, I watch documentaries. Sometimes the monotonous tone will put me right to sleep. Sometimes the monotonous tone will calm me. So if I'm feeling really anxious, I can, listen to documentary. Stormy sounds. Yeah. I used to live in a place that had a tin roof. And when it rained, man, that was the best sleep ever. The best sleep ever when it rained, and the sound of that on the tin roof. If it's not too loud. So it really just depends. Cleaning is definitely a form of walking meditation, and I did that. We've been doing some of that. My husband laughs at me because when I get super, super stressed out, like if my anxiety is in, and it's not depression, and it's that frustration, anger kind of anxiety, because you get different kinds. You get a different feeling depending on the anxiety, depending on what it is. Like the depression and anxiety is that moody, dark. Sometimes you don't want to do anything. You don't want to get out of the bed. You don't want to get dressed. You don't want to take a shower. You need something to uplift you. And then other times, anxiety and frustration, you feel like you're going to explode. When I feel like I'm going to explode, when things get like that, then I go wash dishes. I go clean counters. I clean out cabinets. I do that kind of stuff. Really picky about the storm sounds because the thunder's one of your phobias. Rainy Moods just sounds like rain. I don't remember. I don't think it sounds stormy. They have a thing that's stormy. Some of the sounds for inspiration for your current soon-to-be nano project. I do too. Fireplace sounds, winter. Water soothes you like rain, rivers, creeks, lakes. Me too. I'm from James Island. I'm from the East Coast of South Carolina, the beach out there, and I love anything that has to do with water. It's very calming to me. Yeah, crawling the walls, agitation, frustration. When my face starts getting red, and David's like, "Baby," I'll go walk. I go walk outside. I'll go do dishes. I'll vacuum. I'll start pulling stuff out and dusting, and then putting stuff back. Anything that's sort of a physical thing, it kind of burns it off. It's like kind of like being manic, but it is and it isn't. So I find myself more and more, just wanting to do more journaling, because I've been this whole process over this past year, the grieving process, the probate paperwork, my mom, things are so different. And then some people in my family aren't accepting that things are different now. My dad's not here, you know, I mean, things have to change. People need to be grown-ups and take care of my mom. You know, I don't live with her. The people who live with her need to be a grown-up and take care of her. Instead of worrying so much about themselves. You bury yourself in your writing when you feel like yeah. Sometimes I can do that. I bury myself in writing and journaling and art, being a DIY project. But there are other times when I have to do something physical and I have to do, like, I'll go wash, like I said, wash dishes, take a walk, vacuum, something. I have to actually do something physical. It's the only way that it will help me. But I've been on here, y'all, for about an hour and a half, and we got way away from doing tarot and writing. I don't know that I'm going to leave this stream up here. I am. But yeah, this was, wow, I'm going to have so many weird comments, y'all. I'm glad y'all got my back. I'm so sorry. It is, grief is very hard no matter who you are grieving over. And we all grieve differently. Thank you. We all grieve differently. And don't let anybody, I don't care what you're grieving over. I don't care what you're grieving over. We all grieve differently, and don't let anybody ever tell you that you should put your big girl panties on and get over it now. It's been enough time. Or that how you're grieving is the wrong way. Or don't let anybody ever tell you that, because, like, we all grieve differently. We all grieve differently. And what one person, you know, some people, you will eventually. When you are ready, you will. When you are ready, you will write that letter. You're still grieving over your grandfather. Yes. Nobody can give you the answer, Jelena. You have to kind of, I think facing the pain, when you are avoiding something, it's because you don't want to bring that pain inside. So you have to figure out a way that you can do that. Sometimes it feels like it always gets worse before it gets better. We don't want to burden those we love. My dad knew he was sick for much longer than he let on. And then finally, I think my mom caught on, and my mom made him go to the doctor. So my dad actually probably could have gotten chemo way before he let it get so bad that it was stage 4 cancer. And my mom didn't take good care of herself while she was taking care of my dad. And that's how the infection ended up so bad in my mom, because being so ill and not taking care of herself, her immune system went way down. And so the infection went, hey, low immune system. Hot diggity dog. And boom, took over my mom's body. My mom went septic. She ended up with sepsis. A lot of people don't want to burden. My dad didn't want to burden anybody. My mom simply is hard-headed and stubborn and thinks that she's Superwoman and can do everything she needs to do for other people, but doesn't always do for herself. And my husband says I have a tendency to do that very same thing. So I've been trying to take better care of myself. So today I had a little bit of time for myself. I did, however, see one of those little black spot things, which is the first sign of the degenerative eye disease. And I'm hoping the little black spot I saw was just mascara. So I have called the eye doctor. They're supposed to call me back, and hopefully I will have an appointment next week and I can go to the eye doctor, because I'm supposed to get tested every year. And it's been 2 years now since I went. So I'm a year behind. And I got a call back. They called me, but I didn't answer the phone. So I had to call the place back about the mammogram appointment. So yeah, I'm trying to get on the ball because I have a tendency to do that where I just kind of put things off. Now I'm like the first one to want Victor to go to the doctor, my daughter, or anybody else. But I don't, you know. So I got to be better about it. But I did. I took myself to dinner tonight. Sat right in Arby's, and I had their Euro sandwich, and I read some of my book, and enjoyed some me time. And they can do a gene test for eye disease now. Wonder if my insurance would cover that. Y'all have a great one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate all of y'all. I'm sorry we didn't end up talking very much about the tarot, but before I go, all you really need, well, either one of these or both of them. But I carried this one around more than I refer to this one a lot, but although this one looks newer, I still had her stuff printed out though. So in the beginning, I didn't want to mess up the book, but since I hated messing with the file, the folder with the ring, the binder thing that I had that stuff in, because I hate rings. So I finally was like, you know what? I'm just going to use the book. You drank chamomile tea and watched me and wrote. That's cool. Y'all have a good one. Thank you. You had an absolute relaxing blast tonight. We do need more of the live videos. You have to scan her book parts. I love these two. And I think you don't have to use the hero's journey. I find it easier to use the hero's journey because I'm a character-driven writer. I like the character. But the hero's journey also, because of the way that it's set up, allows you to plot, to be more plot. So I can kind of keep up with both a little bit better using the hero's journey. So y'all have a good one. I'm going to talk to Persephone, and Persephone uses tarot to write as well. And we did a video last year about tarot and writing, and I'm going to see if we can do a video again this year about tarot and writing. I would love to do another video with her because she does it a little bit differently than I do. So you can help people. Callie, if you yeah, she can really help. I forgot. Oh my God. I want to say Bonnie, but we have a lot of people out there who are doing it. Maybe we can do a hashtag. I don't do Twitter as much as I need. I need to start checking Twitter more, but we could just do tarot and writing, hashtag tarot and writing. Instagram with pictures of books or whatever, and Twitter if you want like a little, like, sentence, couple of however many letters things they let you do now. Characters, there we go. Can you tell I'm getting tired? Y'all have a good one. I'm going to go do some evening pages and do my art for today because I did my art for yesterday, and I finally got the book in for from Taroko that was Cotton Customs. This is my new writing, and I actually did some art. I did the notebook, and I did a bagel, and David said it looked like a donut. It didn't look like a bagel to him. It looked like a donut with sprinkles. So I don't know yet. But I did art on the front of it. This is my Starbucks cup. It's actually wider. It's shorter and fatter, but I like the taller cups. Y'all have a good one. Yeah, it is Bonnie. You've been reading tarot since you were 15. I love tarot. I've been reading tarot since 1990, but like I said, I only had the one deck for like forever until 2015, 16. Yeah, so I only had one tarot deck for forever. I didn't even realize that people collected them. I just was like in love with that. I love that tarot deck, the Enchanted Tarot. I love the way that it looked. It's still one of my favorites. It's still my go-to. But they're really big cards. And this is actually collectors because they don't make these anymore. These are out of print. Like here's the Magician. All right, y'all. Take it easy. I'll see you again. I'm going to do a blog post about some stuff. If I can get it done, if I don't fall asleep first. If y'all haven't already, the newsletter went out today. Yeah, it's still today. The newsletter went out today, so check your emails. And if you haven't signed up for the newsletter already, you really should have. And then tomorrow I'm going to be editing my video for Sunday and for YouTube because I'm going to show everybody what I'm doing for my planner journal kind of setup. So, bye y'all. Have a great night and a great weekend. And y'all take care. Be safe.